So let's talk about Trump's tariffs. There's a lot going on here with Trump's tariffs. First of all, let's point this out. He came out the other day and said, we're going to do tariffs. We're going to do it on Mexico. We're going to do it on Canada. We're going to do 25%. And then if they retaliate, we're going to up it to 50%. This is what he said. Okay. So the Tax Foundation, a nonpartisan tax research group, estimates that Trump's 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico and 10% tariffs on China will, ready for this, increase taxes by $1.2 trillion per year, what is effectively a tax on the working class, $1.2 trillion. Reduce GDP by 0.4%, so we'd see an economic contraction, right? We'd be in a recession. Reduce employment by 344,000 jobs, we would lose jobs, and result in an average tax increase of $830 per U.S. household. Doing a trade war has horrible, horrible consequences. Let me be clear. We are not talking about targeted tariffs to reinvigorate or revitalize a specific U.S. industry. We are not talking about that. Many of those kinds of tariffs I could support. This is not that at all. This is an across-the-board tariff, which is economic insanity. And then the other thing is, he doesn't even want to pair it with good industrial policy where we subsidize U.S. industry. So this is like economic suicide is what we're talking about here. It would just be a disaster for every working person in this country. So after Trump comes out and says that, Justin Trudeau comes out and gives a 12-minute speech and basically says, okay, if you're going to put a tariff on us, we're going to put a tariff on you. We're going to put a tariff on $155 billion in U.S. imports. He also stressed, we're going to mostly target red states. So the goods that were targeted for tariffs from Trudeau include beer, bourbon, clothes, fruit juices, fruits, household appliances, lumber, perfume, plastic, vegetables, and wine. There are more too. In fact, you're already seeing there's this Buy Canada movement in Canada where they're like pulling down a lot of the U.S. alcohol. We've seen already a number of NHL games, number of NBA games. When they do the U.S. national anthem, everybody boos. We're finally respected again, ladies and gentlemen. That's why our closest ally and neighbor is booing us. I brought this up the other day. I have to bring it up again because it's super important. Linda Hassenfratz, the executive chairwoman of the Canadian auto parts maker Linamar, said that the 25% tariffs President Trump intends to impose tomorrow on exports from Canada and Mexico could shut down North American auto production within a week. Quote, nobody can absorb this kind of cost. Not the automakers, not the suppliers, not consumers. Hassenfratz, whose Canada-based company has plants in all three countries, said in a statement to the New York Times, demand will collapse and vehicle production will grind to a halt, putting millions of workers out of work, the vast majority of which are in the U.S. In other words, this is not something that's doable. This is not just, matter of opinion, you for the tariffs, you against tariffs. No, it's not workable. The way he's doing it is economic insanity. So the Ontario Premier Doug Ford comes out and announces that the province will remove all American alcohol products from Liquor Control Board of Ontario shelves, affecting nearly $1 billion worth of U.S. wine, beer, spirits, and seltzers. Additionally, they're going to eliminate American products from their catalog, preventing Ontario-based restaurants and retailers from ordering or restocking U.S. products. This is what we call a trade war, y'all. This is what we call a trade war. Now, interesting thing has happened. Since Trump announced this and there was retaliation, there's been these little moments here and there where the media is talking to Trump, and Trump will actually say the quiet part out loud and admit the thing he never would have admitted to on the campaign trail. Ready? He says, this was one of his posts. This will be the golden age of America. Will there be some pain? Yes. Maybe, and maybe not. But we will make America great again, and it will all be worth the price that must be paid. We are a country that is now being run with common sense, and the results will be spectacular. There's something deeply dark about saying it's being run with common sense as he plans the dumbest trade war of all time. Right? But you see the line there. Will there be some pain? Yes. Maybe, and maybe not. He's admitted other times, too, a couple times face-to-face with reporters. Like, there might be a short-term disruption, but if people understand that, they understand that. What happened? I thought what he said on the campaign trail 100 times is tariffs don't raise prices. You don't pay the tariff. The foreign country pays the tariff. Tariffs don't raise prices. He said that 1,000 times. And of course, everybody's reaction to it, correctly so, is, you jackass, literally the whole purpose of a tariff is to raise the price. That's the point of it. Because you want the foreign good coming into your country to cost more, so people are disincentivized from buying the foreign good and incentivized to buy the U.S. product. That's the whole point of a tariff. He lied about it endlessly. They won't even raise prices. Now, will there be some pain? Will there be a little disruption? Yeah, I think so. There might be. There might be just a little bit. Unbelievable. Of course, you had Justin Trudeau did the retaliatory tariffs. Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, who, by the way, has an 80% approval rating, AMLO's heir apparent, actually fighting for the people of Mexico from the Party Morena, actual social democrats doing the right thing by their people, 80% approval rating. She comes out and says, Mexico does not want confrontation. We start from collaboration between neighboring countries. Mexico not only does not want fentanyl to reach the United States, but anywhere. Therefore, if the United States wants to combat criminal groups that traffic drugs and generate violence, we must work together in an integrated manner, but always under the principles of shared responsibility, mutual trust, collaboration, and above all, respect for sovereignty, which is not negotiable. Coordination, yes. Subordination, no. To this end, I propose to President Trump that we establish a working group with our best public health and security teams. Problems are not resolved by imposing tariffs, but by talking and dialoguing, as we did in recent weeks with your State Department to address the phenomenon of migration. In our case, with respect for human rights. The graph that President Trump has been posting on social media about the decline in migration was created by my team, which has been in constant communication with his. I instruct the Secretary of Economy to implement Plan B that we have been working on, which includes tariff and non-tariff measures in defense of Mexico's interests. Nothing by force, everything by reason and right. So she announces also retaliatory tariffs. She says, okay, you're going to do it, we're going to do it back. By the way, Trump's also out there saying we're going to tariff the EU. As somebody said on social media, yeah, Chinese takeover speed run, if that's what you're doing. I mean, everybody's going to run into the loving arms of China and BRICS and try to run away from the dollar at 1,000 miles an hour. So you had all this happen the other day, right? You had all this happen the other day. Boom. Soon as the market opens Monday, plummet. You see it right here. You see it right here. The market absolutely tanked. Because of course it's going to tank, because you just started a trade war for no good fucking reason. So right before I came on air now, Trump goes, he sees the market chaos, he sees the retaliatory tariffs, he's like, oh shit. Like genuinely, like, oh, okay, this is getting a little rough now. And he goes, I'm gonna meet with Canada, I'm gonna meet with Mexico, we're gonna do that tomorrow, we're gonna talk, we're gonna work something out, right? So what happens? Comes out today, and he says, the president of Mexico has agreed to send 10,000 National Guard to the border to block the drugs coming in our country. So we're going to pause the tariffs for a month, bro. We're going to pause the tariffs because they did what I wanted, so I win. We're going to pause the tariffs. By the way, sending 10,000 National Guard to the border. Hey, Don, I don't know if you know this. Fentanyl comes in this country through legal ports of entry bought by American citizens, the majority of it. Mexican troops on the border is going to do Dickie McGee's acts for Dickie McGee's acts. Right? But he gets an optical win, and he goes, we're going to pause the tariffs for a month because they're going to do the thing with the borders. That's great. All right, we're good, right? We're good. And of course, he did this, panicking, and he did this to reverse the market crash, and he did this to try to stave off the inevitable trade war, knowing he can't just put tariffs on them and that they won't retaliate, right? But then here's the deeper question, right? So he causes this tremendous problem, leads to this market crash, right? And you're looking at it, you're going, how many times has this guy caused a problem, pretended to solve the problem he created, basically just by backing away from the ledge, like taking the gun away from his temple, right? Why would you do something like that? Well, that's where this theory comes into play that I wanted to show you, right? Because at first I wouldn't have said, maybe it's this. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, how else do you make sense of what just went down here?
You know, I've been thinking about what the end game is with these tariffs. He's saying it's about fentanyl, but that is just an abject lie. Most of it is brought in by American citizens anyway. So I would not put it past him that he and his insider friends are trying to manipulate the market and that they are shorting stocks and then going to buy them back when they hit lows, and then he can just lift the tariffs. And he can say he solved this problem that he created. And then it'll make him look better, and then the stock market comes back. I really wouldn't put it past him. So I also think he's going to capitulate on this. He'll eventually lift these tariffs. It's just a matter of when. When is he going to do it? I think when the market opens Monday morning, we're going to see a huge reaction to these.
Everything you said so far is exactly what happened.
Especially as we see Canada and Mexico hit back with their own tariffs. That I love that they're targeting red states because they have been silent about these tariffs. Silent. And they will never speak out against Trump because they are just so afraid of a little mean tweet. They are falling in line and will follow him right over the cliff. But I have been seeing these comments about manipulating the market, and I really would not put it past them.
So now we're going to cover this article more in detail tomorrow, but at the same time, look at this. Hedge funds' massive bet on stock market crash raises alarm for 401ks and risks ire of Trump. So in other words, after Trump announces these tariffs, dead serious about it, you get the retaliatory tariffs, and all this stuff is about to pop off. The hedge funders, the venture capitalists, the people who are Trump's robber baron oligarchs, they immediately turn around and bet on the stock market to crash. Monday happens, stock market crashes. Trump has the meeting with Mexico and goes, oh, but they said they'd send some troops to their border, so I'm going to pause the tariffs for a month. Was this all an elaborate ruse to make the market crash temporarily for these people to bet on a stock market crash, make more money, knowing, hey, he's going to eventually relent, claim an optical victory, and then, from there they can reevaluate. From there they can go back to current trade policy. And, in other words, all of this, every single step of the way, Trump and all of his allies could have been in on this, making bets along the way, knowing, hey, we'll make a shitload of money because with me announcing these tariffs, with the retaliatory tariffs announced, with all this happening, I announced it's already happening, you're going to have a market crash. Cash in on that market crash, make billions of dollars, and then don't worry, I'll claim an optical victory and I'll go in the other direction. At this point, this absolutely positively is in the realm of what's possible. There's no doubt about it. Because there's the same guy who did a rug pull crypto scam with a meme coin, a shit coin, 2 days before his inauguration, scammed his own supporters, MAGA, out of tens of billions of dollars. The same guy who stiffs his workers on a regular basis. The same guy who did Trump University, which was a fraud. He had a charity, which was a fraud. He was found liable for tax fraud and insurance fraud and business fraud. He's a con man. So look, at the end of the day, I'm happy we're not getting tariffs put in place. That would absolutely destroy the U.S. economy. A blanket across-the-board tariff with our closest neighbors and closest allies, that's mental. But it may have been an elaborate ruse, a con, a scam, to make him and his buddies even richer while playing games with the country and playing games with everybody's life. Holy shit. Again, we've never been in waters this uncharted before. This uncharted. This is already beyond the pale, already beyond my wildest imagination. And buckle up. It's going to be a really, really long 4 years. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.